Reliance Jio in Navi Mumbai. In next 30 minutes or so, we will understand how to exploit threat intelligence in Security Operations Center. The two key components in my talk are threat intelligence and Security Operations Center. In first two bullets, we are going to understand them before combining these topics together. After that, in next three phases, we are going to consume threat intelligence into Security Operations Center and to see how machine readable threat intelligence can be taken in the form of structured threat information exchange or trusted autonomic exchange of intelligent information. After that, we will see how the cyber threat intelligence feeds can be integrated using APIs. Then we will pick up one sample cyber threat intelligence feed, and we see that how it can be integrated in a security information and event management system. Okay, are we ready? Okay, let's dive into first topic, that is threat intelligence. Let us say I happen to be in a forest, hungry, totally starved, and my energy level at abysmal low. And I notice this. It's a very strange fruit I have never come across in my life. So do I eat it? Okay. So what are my risks? Suppose I eat this fruit. Will I am going to die, or will I get paralysis, or it will just plainly be upset stomach, and after that I will be fine, or nothing is going to happen? We can view this thing qualitatively in terms of death, paralysis, or upset stomach, or we can assign risk scores to it. And this risk is associated with my vulnerability, that my human body can react to bad chemicals in a certain way, which can be hazardous to my life. And what is the threat in this? This is the unknown forest fruit which I have come across. So this real life scenario, let's go to the formal definition of a threat. Threat is anything that can exploit a vulnerability intentionally or accidentally and obtain, damage, or destroy an asset. In this case, I myself am an asset, and threat is this unknown forest fruit. And the risks that which are available are death, paralysis, or upset stomach, because I am unfamiliar with this fruit. What can help? Intelligence. So it is not always necessary to do mistake and learn by mistakes. It is always better to get educated from others' mistakes. So if I get an intel on this, okay, this fruit is cocoa pod, it is safe to eat, and this is a method to eat, maybe a couple of other attributes that will come along with this intelligent information. So this is what we call is the threat intelligence. The same kind of concepts we are going to apply in our Security Operations Center in a cyber environment. Now, let's go further. Okay, let us say I got this information. Somebody has said me, okay, there is a cocoa food safe to eat, yes. But simultaneously, I got another information which also said something else along with the safety to eat. Then a third fellow has come up who said, okay, no, this is not cocoa pod, this is tango tea. And safe to eat? No. And after that, he's getting certain methods or pros and cons of or the bad things about this fruit. Now I get puzzled. So the questions which come to me before consuming threat intelligence is that how many feeds shall I take? And out of the feeds which I am taking, who are reliable? So do I have a reliability score of every threat intelligence feed, or I just consume an odd number of feeds, let us say 3, 5, and then see which majority of people are saying that these things are bad or these things are safe to go ahead. Secondly, I got an intelligent feed about this fruit, which is telling me the property is found, but it is not telling me whether it is safe to eat or not. So whether this intelligent feed which I got is really actionable by me. Secondly, this information which I got is still valid, or this is an expired information. Let us say in the present case, somebody who was saying this fruit is tango tea and it was safe to eat, let us say this information is 200 years old. It may not be relevant in the present context. So considering majority vote or considering these two people and whatever is my risk strategy, I say, okay, let's go ahead and let's eat this food depending upon these two threat intel feeds that I got. So with this basics of threat intelligence, I think now we can go to Security Operations Center working. So there are two key things for Security Operations Center, that it's act as a nerve center. This means all the real-time alerts, trend analysis, security intelligence, and incident resolution within different business units, it has to do that. And the second portion comes remediation. That will involve bringing together a vast array of events from interest captured in the system logs, from threat intelligence feeds to identify the true incidents with verifiable audit trails, and remediation with designated service level agreements. Let's examine this thing into depth. We have a threat landscape in terms of assets which need to be protected, and we have established certain alarms or certain triggers which are giving me the health of this landscape. So it will generate volumes of data. So I will capture only certain events of interest from these alerts which are coming to me from various devices. In addition, I will use certain external information in terms of threat intelligence feeds. Then I will have my own internal vulnerability assessment and baseline assessment feeds that are coming to me in terms of which of my assets are vulnerable, whether the attack is taking place on my vulnerable assets. This thing will get analyzed through an incident management process. And the entire thing will work in a loop, which will try to mitigate vulnerabilities, try to fix cyber attacks, try to fix the attack vectors, and try to reduce the landscape. Let me cover a same thing. Let us say we have a data center totally protected. The protection controls which are there. There are assets which are shown on the left side of the slide, which are critical, which are semi-critical, which are normal, and I have identified my crown jewels which need to be protected. So I have developed the protection controls to protect these assets, but how do I detect whether they remain protected or whether they have been compromised? So I will put various sensor points there which will give me certain alerts. Let us say there are servers there in which operating system is going to send me events, middleware like load balancers, database servers, web servers, they're going to give me alerts. Applications are generating critical transaction logs, authentication, authorization, and access logs. The infrastructure which I have placed around these assets in terms of endpoints, the other like your lanes which are there, or any kind of access control devices which I put, which controls entry to the data center. Then various security devices like firewalls, network intrusion detection system, host intrusion protection system, EDR solutions, data leak prevention solutions, or antiviruses, proxy servers, Active Directory servers, even the net flows from the network elements. These all alerts are coming to, and they are comprising coming via threat landscape to the SIM tool. So threat landscape not only comprises these assets, but they are also comprise the business processes, the people, risk, as well as the control inventory with the proper REC matrix in which responsibilities, accountabilities have been assigned. Now, once these alerts are coming to me in terms of log lines, I need not consume all log lines. I pick up what are events of interest out of these which can make use cases to detect cyber attacks. As I said earlier, these are correlated along with threat intelligence feeds, then our own internal security team feeds, and they go and culminate into Security Operations Center. I think from the basic understanding of a Security Operations Center, we have gone a little step further now to understand. Let's go further deep dive. So I have event sources here from where events are coming. As I said here, in the first step, we are going to apply parsers and apply filters in order to understand the events and the information and the meaning which it is carrying. And from there, the scale gets reduced to around 10% it comprises. We call it as events of interest which are duly passed, and they are required for making my use cases. So SIM tools, the multiple varieties are available from different OEMs as well as open source tools, which can aggregate and correlate these events. Now, depending on the use cases and the business impact and the analysis which we carry out, we say, okay, some security incident has happened. Now that incident has to be analyzed depending upon what kind of a threat it was, what kind of alerts have been thrown by the SIEM. In addition, we are going to take inputs or we will enrich our information which has been generated by SIEM in terms of configuration management database, which is going to populate the geolocations, maybe the asset owners, the application, which zone they are placed, as well as previous incident histories which we have encountered in the Security Operations Center, which have been successfully mitigated. From this analysis, we are going to answer these 5 basic questions like who has been attacking my data center or my assets, what has been attacked, where, when, and how, what has been the methodology of attack. I will stop till this point because after that the response and the process and the SIM rule updation, etc. will take place. And from SIM onwards, nowadays we see a new category of Security Operations Center where we say that orchestration and automated response also play a major role, which will allow this analysis as well as the mitigation process to be handled automatically with a minimum involvement of a human being. Now in this entire security operation, let us see where is threat intelligence coming into play. Now we have seen threat intelligence feeds. Now they are combined and correlated along with the events of interest which are coming from various devices to me in SIEM. So these threat feeds are also aggregated and correlated with the SIEM tool to identify a security incident. In addition, the threat intelligence feed will also go to my incident analysis process. So there is 2 basic difference between these 2 feeds which I have shown. One is directly going into the SIEM and getting correlated by the events, and the other is going to me in the analysis stage. Now this feed which goes to analysis stage is a qualitative feed. It is not a machine readable feed. Here it gives the general behavior of say threat actor or the methodology adopted by the attacker so that my team can analyze and process that information to develop a overall information about the attacker. The other feeds which I have said that they are getting combined into SIEM, those feeds are quantitative in nature so that they can be combined or searched together in the SIEM in terms, they may be IP addresses, they may be URLs, they may be file hashes, which are available directly in the events of interest and they can be compared there. So far so good. Now let us see how these feeds they can be consumed in the Security Operations Center. To be consumed, we have seen that these feeds have to be machine readable so that they can be combined with the events which are coming from various devices. So there were many actors and threat feed providers, and it was very difficult to share information among all the actors. So in 2015, there is Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act, which has facilitated this. And there are 2 major formats which appeared. One is structured threat information expression that is normally called as text feed, which is nothing but a structured language for cyber threat intelligence. The another one is a transport mechanism for sharing cyber threat intelligence. We commonly refer them as taxi feeds. which is trusted automated exchange of intelligence information. Now, in order to further understand that, we can say that STIX provides a formal way to describe threat intelligence, and TAXII is a method to deliver that intelligence. And one more difference between them is STIX is explicitly graphical based notations, and TAXII is a native web. It's basically in terms of a REST APIs to get information. Another important thing is that STIX and TAXII were developed by MITRE Corporation and Department of Homeland Security. So initially, DHS maintained that STIX and TAXII would be transitioned to a standard development organization once they reach sufficient level of maturity, and after that it will be taken care of some other body. So now the Organization for the Advancement of Structured Information Standards, this is the organization which is now recognized internationally as a non-profit consortium that drives the development, convergence, and adoption of the open source standards for the internet. So these two formats are making threat intel information to be consumed by the SIEM tools. Another one which has been recently come into play is OTX, that is Open Threat Exchange, which was created and is run by Alien Vault, now AT&T Cybersecurity. This is a cloud-hosted information sharing which covers a wide range of issues related to security, including malware, viruses, intrusion detection, and firewalls. So instead of saying that it is a threat feed, we call it here as a pulse, which can be subscribed, and these pulses are available in different formats. They can be STIX format or JavaScript object notation or malware attribute enumeration and characterization. Even in terms of a plain comma separated volume, these are available. The indicators of compromise in OTX feeds can be same: the IP addresses, domains, host names, email, your hashes, your CIDR rules, file paths, CV numbers. And to take them, you have REST APIs which have been described down below, where you just have to get these files either through a curl script or through wget, or there are n number of ways to obtain these files. We will see one of the way once I cover another open source threat intelligence feed getting consumed by SIEM. So let me see how a particular threat intel will look like. Now this is an example JSON object which has come as an indicator of a malware, let us say X. So this is the general information which is available. It has given a hash which is starting with 377 for a particular malware. It has given the size. It has given its date when it was created, the type, etc. Now this information is machine readable, where my SIEM can parse it, and this hash value can be compared with a log line, let us say, which is coming from an EDR or antivirus log line, where some of the file which has been detected with this hash. So this hash can be compared with the hash which is coming from the antivirus log or the EDR log, and then we can say, okay, this is a particular malware which has already been listed and identified. In addition to only this component which I described here as a hash, so in the threat intelligence feed, we may get indicators which describes the threat. We get observables which tell us how to spot the indicator, and it shows that, okay, this particular IOC has been seen in which all incidents, which locations, date of timings. It also gives us the tools, techniques, and practices used by that a particular threat actor, and the exploit target information and how they do it, whether they are doing it in terms of a campaign or an organized attack, who is responsible for a threat actor, whether they are script kiddies or a state actor or a non-state actor or somebody who's looking for financial gains or maybe a personal vendetta. Then what can I do about it? So there may be some previous or recommended course of actions which come bundled with the threat intelligence feed. Let us look at some couple of open source threat intelligence feeds. There are plenty of them which are available as shown. There are commercial feeds available as well. Let me go through a perspective of how threat intelligence feeds are combined in an organization before giving it to the users. I am presenting a Sophos Lab perspective. Let us say in threat intelligence sources which Sophos Lab is using. They take their own telemetry, various files submitted by different users, analyzed by their analysts, the spam traps or the web crawlers which they have been using to fetch different IOCs. They deploy their own honeypots where they see attack patterns, analyze them, shared information with the industry, the various subscriptions which they have taken, and something which they have taken from the open source and combined and analyzed together. So this is where which forms the basic data of theirs, and they provide some threat feeds in terms of URLs which may relate to malware, phishing, spam, or different categories, or the lookup service in terms of file hash, URLs, IP, or APK fingerprint. And they offer these feeds via their standard taxi RESTful APIs. Let's take one open source feed, HeleTaxi. This I will show you how this can be taken in an API as well as integrated in the SIM tool. So there are plenty of available feeds which are available from HeleTaxi, which have been shown here, like guest.abuse_ch, cybercrime_tracker. So these feeds are passed as a parameter to the API request. We will see it now. So how do we make a RESTful API? So there is a Python library available, libtaxi, which will allow how we represent the taxi messages which will be coming from a threat intelligence provider, and basic processing for serialization, deserialization of the XML files coming, and a plain HTTP or HTTPS taxi client to query the threat intelligence provider, in this case HeleTaxi. So installation returns you will be able to find at this URL. So method to install is you just type pip install libtaxi and this package will get installed. So after installation of package, what do I do? There is a demonstration which has been given at this URL at GitHub. This is one sample code to launch a taxi discovery service. So you will see that it is importing libtaxi as an object and making a HTTP request to call a taxi discovery service, which in turn will return these list of available feeds. In the next set of call, which I have not shown it here, you will make again a call to the taxi service where you will be giving a feed parameter and then obtaining an XML file in the return. So this XML file which you get it in return, you can use it in your own SIM or your own analytics, or you can give it to your SIM. Now let us see, suppose you don't have to make these API calls yourself, and SIM may be giving its automated way of consuming certain feeds. There are plenty of SIM solutions which are available, both commercial as well as open source, like IBM QRadar, Splunk, or McAfee, or ElkStack, or Elasticseam, which has come up now. So I will show how to consume this with the McAfee NitroGuard. So in McAfee SIM, you have a McAfee Enterprise Security Manager, which is the basic SIM console. You go to the properties of ESM, go to cyber threat feeds as shown here as step 1. Once you click that step 1, you will come into another window where you have to click add to add the taxi feed. You already see in this window there are two feeds which are already enabled, IOC test and ATD IOC. Once you click this, you get another screen called Cyber Threat Feed Wizard. Here there are 5 tabs: main, source, frequency, watchlist, and backtrace. So here there are only 2 attributes that you give the name of the feed, say McAfee threat feed, and you say it is enabled. Or since I am creating this HeliaTaxi feed, so I've given a name HeliaTaxi and I say enabled. Let me go to the second tab now, source. So in this I can give a type, whether it is a taxi or whether it is Stix feed or whether it is a OTX feed. Then I give a URL of that open source feed. I say what kind of authentication it requires. In this HeliaTaxi, it's none. Then I say how my HTTP request is getting submitted to this URL. I say post. Then I give the collection name. This collection name is the name of the feed that we have seen earlier. Then we say start date and we say whether to test the parameters, and we say connect. After that, we describe, and the information that we are getting it, we are adding into a watch list. Watch list, you can assume that it is a list of comma separated strings which is maintained by the SIEM. Different SIEM will be using different terminologies for this. So here in case of SIEM, it says that it is a watch list, which you can assume that it's a list of strings, comma separated strings, and I can assign a name to it. Say, let us say URLs from HeliaTaxi, and I can make it static or I can make it dynamic, which can grow over a period of time. Now, this particular this watch list name I will be using in my use cases, so that I can compare the values which have been inserted into the string with my logs which are coming from various data sources, let us say firewalls or a WebSense proxy. In this case, if this is a URL, so this will be correlated with my proxy logs, so the WebSense proxy logs. In the next step, the fields which are coming from the cyber threat feeds, I will pick up. Okay, the URL I will pick up. It can be stored. So this indicator, let us say in the URL, I have taken a URL from HeliaTaxi. There can be multiple type of fields which are coming from the taxi feed. So I can create multiple watch lists and keep on adding that indicator type. Like indicator type may be a file hash also. So I will add that file hash to a different watch list. Here, since I am demonstrating only the URL, so this URL has gone into the URLs from HeliaTaxi watch list. Now there is something called as a backtrace. Now let's understand what is this backtrace. Let us see, you are pulling this threat intelligence feed today. So you are going to compare all your logs with respect to the information which is available till today. But the next feed that you will be taking, let us say you will take that feed after 7 days. So from the current day to till next feed which is coming up, there will be logs which will be coming from, let us say, firewall or proxy, that will go undetected or uncompared with respect to the new indicators which will be coming in the new feed. So backtrace field is like whenever I pull this threat intelligence feed, I will compare this with all the logs which have come in the last 7 days or the previous 7 days, so that the new indicators which are coming with the present feed, they get compared with the logs which have come in the last 7 days, so that I do not miss out on any incident because of old information or the indicator not available with me. Now, once we do this or start pulling on the feed, so that entire URLs which have come in the feed, we see it here in Cyber Threat Indicators dashboard. We have seen there are various URLs which have come here and the feed name, and along with various severity that will come here. Now these URLs needs to be compared with the log lines which are coming from a proxy logs, to see if some of the server is compromised who is trying to go to one of the URL which is listed in the cyber threat indicators which have come from HeliaTaxi. So how it will be done? So I have given two examples here. One is in a feed, let us say IP has come 70.62.97.107 as malicious IP. Now that IP can be compared with a firewall log. So here one sample firewall log which I've taken is that inbound TCP connection has been denied from this. So it's perfect. So nothing has gone wrong. Connection has not been established, and it has been denied successfully. But however, suppose this connection would have been from inbound to outbound. So that would have been a worrisome issue because somebody asset is trying to communicate to outside to the malicious IP. This means either some malware or something which is there, which is trying to communicate to its command and control center. The other kind of a feed is URLs, which I've shown you that URLs have been picked up. Now URLs will be compared from the proxy logs. So in the log which have been passed here, I have shown the fields like 1, 2, 3, 4. In the fifth log, you will get a URL. Let us say this URL gets, you are able to find in the watch list which you have created here. So that is going to generate an alert. So these alerts will come as shown here in the SIM console. Let us say SOC suspicious communication certain taxi feeds. So theoretically it's all right. So how do I actually program it in the SIM? So that programming is done through a correlation rules. So let us see how this correlation rule will look like. So there are multiple conditions which are shown here, which are separated by various filters. So let me read out one filter here. Let us say filter context. Let us say any connection which is originating from external to internal or internal to external. So these internal and external again are the variables which have been defined here, which is given the IP ranges where connection is originating from inside the organization or outside the organization, or even lateral. Let us say internal to internal. And we say that source IP is in different kind of feeds. Let us say I have feeds coming from different sources. Let us say these two are internal feeds, and I have a taxi abuse feed. And let us say taxi malware domain host tracker is another feed. I can keep adding here multiple feeds which have been linked to various watch lists. And we say signature IDs. Either we say not in his here is for whitelisting particular signature IDs, or we can say signature ID actually corresponds to the log line, and we say signature ID in these signature IDs and not in these signature IDs to whitelist. So once this event is matched, so it is going to throw an alert. So we can keep on adding these filters here one after another, either as OR condition or an AND condition depending upon the use case that you require. So that is going to throw an alert on your SIM console where your analyst can examine whether a particular communication to a known bad IP or a known bad domain has been made and in which direction it has been made. So ultimately, you will be fine-tuning depending upon the alerts which have been thrown and depending upon the threat intel feeds that you got from either open source or from reliable source. So this is one of the very basic example which I have created here. There can be scenarios like where I earlier shown that there's one IP which has been shown as a malicious feeds and not shown in one particular feed. So you can build here your reliability score of feeds, or you can say, okay, this particular IP should be available in minimum 2 threat intel feeds out of 3 intel feeds. You can also build in that, okay, the indicator is coming with a particular date. So all the indicators which are noticed in, let's say, last 3 months or 6 months, those indicators are valid, or you can have a score associated with that indicator depending on the threat intelligence feed, and accordingly these rules can be configured. So with this, I think we have gathered enough knowledge that what are threat intel feeds and how they can be consumed in the security operations center, and where our detection can become better by the knowledge of others rather than discovering events from our own log sources. With this, I have come to the end of the talk today. So if there are any questions, people are welcome. I will be glad to answer them. Thank you very much.